My guest is Collin Morikawa, pro golfer of the PGA Tour, two-time major winner. Collin has an appearance in the upcoming movie Happy Gilmore 2, which debuts this Friday on Netflix. Collin is joining me on behalf of U.S. Bank, which is featured prominently in the movie Happy Gilmore 2. Collin has been partnered with U.S. Bank since 2021. Collin, thanks for joining me on Sports Business Radio. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
This seems like such a fun project. Why don't you tell us how you and U.S. Bank, like I said, you've been partnered since 2021. How did this collaboration with Happy Gilmore 2 come to be?
Yeah, well, I honestly think I was already going to be in the film, and Happy Gilmore 2 was looking for essentially a title sponsor for the Tour Championship, right? And what a better way to connect it. I was already in it. I was an ambassador. Makes sense. I mean, they've already been intertwined in the golf world, in the sports world as well. So it just made sense, I think, for them. And I think it gives them a broader reach, right? I think when we think of banks, you don't really think of comedy, right? You want a bank to be very stable and very structured in a way. And I would say that's kind of the opposite of what Happy Gilmore provides. But it's going to bring just a bigger audience. And I think that's what anyone could really use, especially like a brand like US Bank.
Yeah, I would think it helps U.S. Bank reach a younger demo too, right? And in a fun way.
It does. It does. And it really ties in. I mean, look, if you really look at the bones of what Happy Gilmore is about, it was about a man who needed financial money to, save his grandma's house or save something else, right? So it kind of ties it into this whole financial institution idea of needing a bank and needing money. And there you go. Now you have the title of a tour championship.
Now, you were at the premiere of Happy Gilmore 2 last night with your wife. How was it?
I was amazing. It was a little overwhelming, if I'll be honest. Just an atmosphere that you're not used to, but a lot of fun, a lot of faces that you recognize. And honestly, being my first movie premiere, I'd say it was something that, I don't know if I can get used to, but it was really, really cool to be a part of, for this time being.
I saw you sat with the alligator too. You're pretty brave.
I did, yeah. I was a little scared. You never know.
You and U.S. Bank did a commercial around Happy Gilmore 2, and you're doing the bull dance in the commercial. Collin, when I see you on the golf course, you're pretty straight-laced. When you're doing the bull dance, I'm like, oh, this is a different side of Collin that we don't usually see.
This was, and I honestly wasn't expecting it. But once again, it's you're getting put in a setting that, one, they made it very comfortable for us to be who we are and just have fun and be a kid. But you have to embrace that, right? That's what Happy Gilmore's about. That's what the entire production team's about, is having fun. And when they asked me, was I ready for it? No, but am I happy that I did it? Absolutely, because you have to kind of be able to express yourself and just have a little fun sometimes.
With the movie itself, how long did it take for you to film to be in the movie? Can you give us a little bit of behind the scenes? I know there's some other pro golfers in the movie as well.
Yeah. I was there for a couple days. And, I think there's a few other guys that were there for a little bit longer than me, slight bigger roles. But, it's just, like I said, it's a different environment. I think all of us took it to heart. It was a great time for us to film when we were filming during the fall, and just having a little bit more time off instead of versus the middle of the season. For example, if we were in the middle of the major season, I don't know how many of us would have actually shown up.
What was it like working with Adam Sandler?
It was incredible. We have this idea of who people are, celebrities, athletes, just based on what we see them on TV. But when you actually get to meet these people in real life, they show them their true selves. And Adam's one of the best people, because not just does he remember who you are, he's just so comfortable, and he makes you feel comfortable. It makes you feel like you guys have been friends for a while. And he did that for a lot of us, for a lot of the golfers, was able to hang out and just joke around. And it's amazing to watch him in action and be who he is in his craft. And you really get to appreciate when you see all his movies come together and say, wow, this is a special talent.
I want to talk a little bit of golf with you and also some of your other partnerships. You work with Adidas, TaylorMade, and others. When someone comes to you and they say, Collin, I want to partner with you, what are you looking for in a partnership?
Yeah, I think, well, one, what do they value? What type of company are they? The culture, the atmosphere that they bring in, their audience. One, have they partner with any other golfers or athletes or celebrities? What kind of audience that they bring in as well? You want to be like, when I look through partnerships, it's not just a partnership to slap on the chest or slap on my sleeve or, yardage book or towel, whatever it may be. I want to have a personal relationship with them. I want to get to know them. I want to get to kind of experience their, what they do in the real world, essentially, right? And for me to learn a little bit more is a big factor into all that.
It seems like you've gone with the less is more approach with partners. I don't see you with 20 partners. I see you with a handful of partners, but deeper relationships. Is that a correct observation?
In a way, I have a fairly clean look, but I do have some partners behind the scenes that matter a lot to me, that, represent who I am. And I hope I represent their brand as well as best as I can.
Anytime I have an elite athlete on this show, I'm really interested in process and preparation. In general, can you walk me through what your process and preparation is for a week of golf? I know you just got back from the Open, but even if it's just a non-major, what are you doing leading up to the event?
Yeah, I don't think people realize what we go through as golfers. Other sports, they kind of show up maybe a day before, get some practice in, get the time travel right. For us as golfers, we show up Sunday night or Monday morning, and then we're practicing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Monday and Tuesday might be 9 holes or 18 holes of practice, with a lot of other practice and working out in between. Wednesday, we have our Pro-Am. So that's about 9 holes with, a bunch of donors, sponsors of the tournament, and then go to sleep. And then you're playing Thursday, Friday. Hopefully you're making the cut Saturday, Sunday, and then you're rinsing and repeating again. So you're flying right after you play on Sunday. You're finding the quickest flight Sunday night. How do you get to the next event? How do you get to the next city? And then do that over again. And that's 1 week, right? And when you do that for 3 or 4 weeks in a row, come back home for 5 or 6 days and have to go do that for maybe another 2 or another 5 or 6, it adds up. But that's part of what we signed up for, essentially. And that's part of what we do. And you get used to it and you find that rhythm.
How different? I know you have a team around you, but you play an individual sport. So it's all on you. You can't pass the ball to anyone or count on anyone other than yourself. I know you've grown up playing golf, but how different is it playing an individual sport?
It's very different. The responsibility comes on yourself. You can't blame anyone else, even though you have people all trying to help. At the end of the day, you're the one swinging the shot. You're the one, pulling the club back and committing to the shot. And it's hard. Our sport takes quite a long time. We're out there for 4, 5, 6 hours a day playing just in the round. And when that happens, your mind can kind of drift away for certain things. You might not be as focused as you were on the first hole or the 10th hole or the 15th hole. And you have to find ways to kind of mellow that out. And when you're stepping over every shot, really put all your effort into it and then be able to kind of step away and do that, hopefully less than 70 times a round.
I'm interested in your happy place. Is there your favorite place on tour or your favorite tournament that you love playing in?
The majors, I'm going to set them aside. The majors are obviously very special, but I'm very biased. I love Riviera. I love Tiger's tournament in LA. I get a little more friends and family out there. You get some great dinner spots to eat at, after the round. It encompasses everything that I enjoy. I also love Jack's event, so there's 2 Hall of Famers essentially. But I just love the golf course, Muirfield Village. So those are my top 2. I love starting my year out when you're able to start it out at Century at Kapalua, looking out on the ocean. It really separates yourself from being able to play golf to just really enjoying where you are in the world.
I actually followed you around a couple years ago at Kapalua because the galleries aren't huge there, so it's pretty easy to follow golfers, and it was fun to watch you play that course, and just a beautiful scenery there.
It is.
The TGL, you played for the LA franchise for TGL. That was new. How was that for you?
LAGC. No, it was a lot of fun. It was just how I talked about being in Happy Gilmore 2, a different environment. TGL was a completely different environment, but all of us bought into it. I think it exceeded all of our expectations, honestly. And we just loved every aspect of it. It's very different than golf, and we know that. You cannot compare it to the traditional PGA Tour schedule and that type of golf, 4 days out there. But it's a different niche, 2 hours. We get a lot of coverage on us. You get to hear us kind of banter back and forth between other players. And that kind of brings out what we normally do when we're practicing. Is a lot of our practice revolves around playing against other competitors and other guys on tours, whether it's the PGA Tour, mini tours, and so be it. And there's a lot of banter. And I think that's what you're going to see through TGL as it continues to evolve.
Yeah. I mean, do you plan on playing in the future?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will be there next year on the LAGC team. And hopefully, we had a great regular season. We topped off the regular season first. And unfortunately, the playoffs didn't go our way. And that's how sports work. So hopefully we kind of rekindle the spark that we had in the regular season, get off to a nice start, and then be ready for playoffs, hopefully, come next year.
Yeah, I liked it too. Like you said, it brings in a younger demo, I think, to TGL. And it also, because you're mic'd up, it showcases your personality a little bit more than a typical PGA Tour event.
For sure. And it's a light watch. It's something that you can have on in the background. It's something you can tune in with friends, have a watch party, whatever it may be, sit at the bar, whatever it is, right? You kind of fills in that gap of what it might be, because it is only 2 hours and you get to hear us talk and kind of, shoot back and forth between the teams.
Obviously, you golf all the time. From where you sit, do you see the game growing, both with fans attending golf tournaments and also watching on TV? Is it going in the right direction?
Absolutely. You can simply just look at viewership numbers on the PGA Tour. Those are growing. As you look over the past 5-6 years, the numbers keep growing. But just aside from that, I think it's just becoming a younger sport. And that's what we love as professional athletes and professional golfers, is seeing kids want to take up the game, because that's the next generation. Those are the kids that will take over when we get older and as time goes. And I think the accessibility to golf is what we want to keep seeing. That's what TGL is bringing. That's what the PGA Tour is trying to bring into every week and every tournament that we play. And I hope that's what Happy Gilmore 2 bridges another gap, is a lot more kids want to watch the movie. Maybe they want to pick up golf because they saw one of us, or maybe because, Happy Gilmore looks fun to play, right? And you never know what that's going to bring. So hopefully that continues to go up. We're absolutely seeing a lot more kids out there at tournaments, a lot more teenagers, college kids wanting to play golf, and everyone's saying, man, I wish I took up this game early. That's what we love to hear. And hopefully people do start taking it up.
When I was growing up, there was just the PGA Tour. Now there's Live Golf as well. Yep. What do you think of this? Would you rather have everything combined like it was at the start of your career, or do you think it's good to have a little bit of competition and maybe some outside the box thinking that pushes the envelope a little bit to maybe do things a little different?
Yeah, look, competition's always good. And I don't think you should ever stray away from competition. And I still believe, and I truly believe, that the PGA Tour is the best place for that, right? But that doesn't mean that other people can't push the boundaries and push your buttons to how do we make things better. And I think when sometimes, you look at the PGA Tour, maybe it was 5, 6, 7 years ago, where things were getting a little stagnant and everyone was getting complacent, this kind of riled some feathers. And I think everyone has made greater changes and adapted to that. But do we miss playing against everyone all together at the same time? Of course. And I think we all took that for granted. Whether we ever see that come together or not anymore in the future, who knows? And I don't have that answer, right? But everyone's had to adapt, and I think everyone's adapted for the better, and that's what's great. And I think that's what the PGA Tour is going to keep pushing, is how do we adapt and make it better, not for the players, but how do we make it better for the fans and the fan engagement and the fan interactions, because that's what drives interest in golf, are the fans and the people wanting to watch.
Brian Rolapp came from the NFL to the PGA Tour, very accomplished at the NFL. Lots of great reviews about him coming to the PGA Tour. Have you had a chance to meet him and speak with him?
Yeah, I actually had a nice talk with him for about 20 to 30 minutes, aside from when he had our meetings with the players. And it's going to bring a fresh new perspective. I think all of us have been so much in this golf world and drama, let's call it, over the past 5 years, that it's going to bring a new focus and energy into our golf world, and we need that. We absolutely need that. He's going to bring new ideas into the idea, and I think his background is going to be great for what we need on the PGA Tour.
And it sounds like they listen to input from the players like yourself, right?
They do, and they've been great about that in the past. But it's going to continue to progress, and I think that just shows the growth and development of the tour.
All right, just a couple questions left. I know you need to get going. Social media. I saw pictures on your social media last night from the premiere. Like, you seem like you enjoy using social media. What's your recipe? Are you a pull the phone out of my pocket and impromptu poster, or are you thinking more, hey, I'm going to do 4 posts this month and here's what they're going to be?
Yeah, I'm in the middle. I don't know if I love it like some guys. I know some guys absolutely love doing it. I find myself in the middle. I'll go through waves where I truly do enjoy it. I do engage. I do like to engage. And then there's some times where you have to step away, right? And it's just kind of free flowing, kind of goes as the rhythm goes. And, that's why some months might look a little better than other months, but I don't live and die by it, right? I think people want to know our lives. And I think that's what's great about, for example, Full Swing and just having little tidbits that the tour does about our lives. It's a lot more insight. And I think that's what people want to see. So I think that's what Happy Gilmore 2 hopefully provides, is like, it pulls us out of our comfort zone to see us as, not these stiff golfers in a way.
Well, and even, I know this is different, it's on Apple TV, Stick. I've enjoyed watching that.
Yep.
Owen Wilson, I think that makes golf fun too.
Yeah, I've got a lot of debuts this week between Stick and Happy Gilmore 2, but exactly, it pulls a little more persona out of us. And golf is such a tough sport because all these other sports that are aggressive in nature, right, a little more offense, you can kind of see the energy pulled out of them. There's a lot of energy in golf. We just don't show it because we have to restrain ourselves because we know that we don't live and die by one shot. We have to execute that shot and then move on. And too much energy into one and that pulls it away from the next one. And that might pull you away and distract you from the next one. So you have to find that balance. But I think that's what's great about, these 2 premieres or my debuts essentially between Stick and Happy Gilmore 2 is hopefully there's this fun side that people can kind of see.
I appreciate your time. Collin Morikawa, 2-time major winner. You can catch him in Happy Gilmore 2, debuting on Netflix this Friday. Collin, best of luck in the future. Keep up the great work, and thanks for joining me on Sports Business Radio.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate the time.